What up, YouTube? It's your boy Middi, back again with another video. Now, do you ever run into the issue where you create a melody, but then you kind of get stuck on what to do with the drums for it? Well, if you do, you're in luck, because hopefully after watching this entire video, you will never have this issue ever again, because I am going to show you every single that I can think of drum pattern that you could possibly ever need ever for any song. So I will break this down by genre, because obviously there's like a million billion different types of drums that are used in music, but each of them has like the kind of like backbone, like kind of like the starting point that each one is based off of. Because like the way a genre works is every single song can't be a completely new thing that's never been heard before. So the thing with genres is the reason why songs are in the same genre is because they all share similarities, which means there's only a certain number of drum patterns that exist in each genre. It's just that they take the basic pattern and they add to it to spice it up for that specific song. So I've got this melody that I made right here. It kind of got like a little summertime, happy, little chill vibe to it. I want it to be like neutral so that a lot of different things can fit with it, so that I don't have to make 500 different melodies for each drum. So with that said, let us begin with hip hop. Hip hop has a couple different patterns that you can choose from, but all of them basically start here. This is the initial pattern for hip hop. So you've got a hi-hat here, you've got a kick and another kick. If you've watched my how to mix and master drums tutorial, you'll understand why I have 2 kicks and 2 claps. The short version of it is I like to layer my sounds so that I get like a more full sound out of it. So if I just had 1 kick, it would kind of sound a little limp. I like to have 2 different kicks so that it can feel more like full, like it'll have more like punch to it, which is why I like to layer things up. And I have 2 kicks, 2 claps, I have 2 snares. So that's the reason I have that. I have the claps here. When you're doing hip hop, the main backbone is pretty much the hats, the kicks, and the claps and or snares. You can really choose either or. Like instead of having claps here, I could have had this be a snare. I just chose to have it be claps, but it's basically the exact same pattern, just switch these claps out for the snares. So this is what it sounds like. That's the first pattern. The second pattern is this. We start off with the kicks and the claps exactly how we had them before, but now we're adding in snares to add a little extra bounce to it. This is what it sounds like now. Now, like I said, these are basically just skeletons. You can change this up and switch it up to make it fit the melody that you have. And really you should. So let's say I wanted to like spice this up a little bit. Instead of having both of these hit, maybe I could just have 1 hit. On to the next one. This one, it looks very similar, but it has a completely different feel to it. So this is what this one sounds like. Now again, you could switch it up kind of like how I have here, where I removed this one and then kept the second one and then repeated the second one here, and then we can hear how that sounds. Like you see how it started off with the bass drum pattern, but if you move things around, it gives it like a whole new flavor to it. But you didn't have to come up with a whole new thing. You just needed to slightly move a couple things around, which is the purpose of these skeletons. It's a starting off point for you to be able to say, okay, let me switch this up. Let me change this around. For this next pattern, we have now moved on to dancehall, reggae, and Afrobeat, because I don't know, they somehow have all decided that they want to use the exact same drums somehow. Well, I mean, Jamaican music is basically just African music. I mean that is where they were before they were in Jamaica. So yeah, we have this first pattern here. Now see, the good thing about drums is that the drums is really what makes the genre. Like, I don't need to change around this melody for this to go from a hip hop sounding song to a dancehall sounding song. It's the same thing, the hi-hat, the kicks, the clap, and the snare. So we can go ahead and listen to how that sounds. That is the starting off pattern for a lot of dancehall, reggae, Afrobeat type of songs. This next one is a little more spicy. This one sounds like this. Now see, with this one, I'm already starting to see some ways that I can maybe spice it up a little. You could spice this one up by doing something a little bit like this. See, you start off with the bass skeleton, and then literally all I did was added a clap. Everything else was already here, and just adding those couple extra claps completely changes how this sounds. On to this one. This is more of an Afrobeat type of sound right here. The way that I would spice this one up. Okay, so I could do something a little bit like this. I added a couple extra claps, added a couple extra snares, and now it sounds a little bit more like this. Like, you see how it got a little more groove, a little more bounce? Literally all I did was just add a couple extra claps or add a couple extra snares. With these patterns, literally all you need to do is either add a couple extra hits to the claps or snares, or remove a snare, clap, or kick, and then you have a whole new pattern that gives a completely different feel. So this is another one of the Afrobeat dancehall sounding patterns. So this one sounds like this. Now, I could do maybe something a little bit like, literally, I just added a couple extra claps. That's it. And now it has a completely different groove. You feel me? Now, this one is where it gets a bit complicated, because I don't know what in the world they were doing in the studio when they created this pattern, but you've probably heard this pattern in Sean Paul's Get Busy, Wayne Wonder, No Letting Go. It's the thing with the 500 million claps. So it sounds like this, and I'm gonna break down how to get this sound, because it's a little complicated. It took me a minute. So it sounds like this. So, as you can hear, there's a lot of stuff going on with these claps. The way that I did that is I adjusted the volumes of the different claps. So, as you can see, it starts off high volume, dips down, high volume, and then I switch off between the high and low volume to get the effect of the claps going like ta 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 ta. So, without the kicks, it just sounds like this. So the kicks that they decided to use for this actually happens to be another pattern that is very popular. And it sounds like this with the claps. Right, which gives it that dancehall feel. However, this pattern right here with the kicks also just happens to be the exact same pattern that they use for Jersey club music. It makes more sense to have it a bit faster. Typically, Jersey Club is at 138, so it sounds like this. So yeah, somehow Jersey Club is based off of Dancehall. I bet you didn't know that one. So this is a 2-for-1. Now, on to the next genre. All right, so this is the backbone pattern for R&B. This is the first one that we're gonna listen to. So I got the hi-hats going here, I got the kicks, and I got just the claps. All together, this sounds like this. So you can hear it has like more of a slower, laid back sound to it, more laid back feel to it. With R&B, you really don't need to do too much with the drums because it's supposed to be more like slowed down, slow tempo. So this one, you could really just leave it exactly how it is. On to the next one. So this is the second version of the R&B pattern. And this one is like, if you're really trying to go for, I want this all the way slowed down, like this that baby making pattern. You got the kicks here. Now, as you can see, the claps have been moved over. Instead of them hitting right here, they hit right here. And this little delay in space makes the clap have more of a different feel to it, which you can hear now. You see how waiting for that clap to hit kind of gives it more of like a kind of like smooth, you feel me? So with R&B, they're kind of boring, unlike hip hop and dancehall, who has 30 different patterns to choose from. When you're talking R&B, literally you got these two, and you really don't need to switch it up that much. So for R&B, you really just need these two. Now we're moving on to dance music. This pattern is the base pattern for pretty much every single song that came out before 1980. Like, I don't know why every song had this exact same pattern, but whether you're talking house music, whether you're talking funk, if you're talking disco, if you're talking soul music, all of them were using this exact same pattern. This is going to sound a bit more modern, but I'm going to bring in a different melody so that you can hear how this pattern sounds when it's like an actual like old school throwback kind of melody to it. This is what this one sounds like. As you can see, it is extremely basic. You cannot get more basic than this. Literally, this is like press the default buttons, fill each 2-step, fill each 4-step. Like, literally, that's it. There's nothing special going here. You just got kicks, the claps, and or snares. You could use the snare. A lot of throwback songs like to use claps. Some of them use claps and snares, but really it's up to a personal preference of what you think sounds better with your song that you're doing. So now we're gonna go ahead and switch things up with the melody so that you can hear what this sounds more of an authentic throwback sound. All right, we're back. So I have a different melody going here so that you can hear the difference. This drum pattern looks a little different, but it's still the same thing. I just have different sounds and it's just structured a bit differently. But I still have the kicks, which sound like this now. I have the snares, which have replaced the claps. Like I said, the claps and snares are pretty much interchangeable when it comes to this. And then you have your hi-hat. So these are more real sounding drums rather than 808 sounding drums, which this gives you more of like that old school feel to it. So this is what it sounds like with the melody playing. The way that I would spice this up is to get kind of like a shaker sound. It's like, this is specifically if you're going for like a throwback kind of thing. So you could get a shaker sound or a tambourine sound, whichever one you can find. And I would put this one. So you see how the hats are hitting 1, 2, 1, 2. You're only going to do the 2s. So it can be something like, and then that'll sound like this. You could also add in some extra hats, which I have a couple here, which sounds like this. And then these you can go ahead and throw every 4. Oop, messed that one up. Every 4. And then that will sound like this. These just help to like give a bit more emphasis and punch to the kick. With this one, I'm kind of feeling like I want to like switch these up a bit. So I'm gonna remove every other one for this one, and then we're gonna hear how that one sounds. This is if you're trying to get like kind of like that like 80s pop kind of sound. All right, so I got another melody. This one is more of like a funk or disco kind of sound. So this one sounds like this. And this one, again, the same pattern. You got the kicks hitting like this. You got the hi-hat, which is just on the fill H2. And then you got the snares in the exact same spot as we had before. I'm telling you, they were all just copying this exact same pattern. So this one sounds like this. Now, same thing with the other one. You basically spice it up in the same way. So I got this other hi-hat. And I'm just going to double up with the fill each 4, same way I did with the kick. And also gonna grab the shaker or the tambourine, whichever one you can find. And then we're just gonna put that same thing we did before, just every other for where the hi-hat is. So skip one and then do the next one. And after that, you have this. If you really want to get fancy, what you can do is you can change up the hi-hats to give it a little bit more groove to it, a little more funk to it. So what we're going to do is, so you want each of these to be 1, skip, 3, 3, 3. And then with that, it'll sound like this. If you want to get a little bit extra, you can get an open hat, and then you can put that right before where it hits the claps or the snares, which is basically where you have the shaker. So you want to, don't do it every one, you want to skip this one. So this, and then this, and it sounds like this. And then if you want to get extra fancy, you can start off with a crash. And then you only hit that for the first one. And altogether, it sounds like this. And see, all you had to do was switch up a couple things, add a couple things, and literally that's it. We started from the very basic, and all we did was add a couple things, switch a couple things around, and now we have this whole new groove. So that's about it when it comes to like the old school pop music. It's pretty much all just this pattern. Just do whatever you feel makes it feel a little bit more funky once you start off with the bass pattern. All right, now we're gonna move on to rock. Now with rock, they are extremely basic. They're all using basically the exact same drums. So once you know this first pattern, you will not need to learn another pattern ever again. You just need the one. So this melody changes up a lot, but the most clear section where you can hear the drums the best would be right here, and this sounds like this. This isn't like your typical rock music. This is more of like a J-rock, kind of like anime sounding rock melody, which is just what I like better. I don't like basic rock. I like more anime sounding stuff, but that's besides the point. So the pattern, this pattern right here, you will never need anything else except for this pattern right here. So we've got the kick, we got the snare, got another snare, we got a hi-hat, we got a crash, And then we got an open hat. That's all you need for the kicks. Follow this pattern for the snare. It's basically kind of the same as with the house one, where every time you get to this red section here, just first one. It's basically just that. For the hi-hat, is literally just fill each 4. And then for the open hat, is literally just fill each 2. So the hi-hat's extremely basic. You put a crash on the first time that the loop starts, and literally that's it. Just the only thing special is this kick, but once you know this kick pattern, literally that's it. You don't need to switch this up. So all of that together sounds like this. Literally every single rock song you will ever make, you can just copy and paste this exact same pattern. You do not need to switch this up at all, unless you need the second pattern, which is more of like if you want like a slowed down section where you don't want it to be as aggressive, that's when you would use something a bit more like this. So this kick pattern is less complicated than the other one, but basically you follow this one. This follows the same snare / clap pattern is with the slowed down R&B, where instead of you hitting it right here, you delay it to hit right here, so that it has like more of a like delayed response to make you feel it. When you have that like delay here, it makes it feel like more smooth. The open hats, we slowed these down. Instead of them hitting fill every 2, we do fill every 4, and then you still got the crash, and then you have the hat right here, the open hat right there, and basically you just hit it here and here right before the second snare, and that's literally it. And that one altogether sounds like this. And literally, that's all you need for rock. Just, you need a slow down section, use this one. You need a more upbeat section, use this. You do not need to switch this up. When I tell you, you can just copy and paste these onto literally any and every single song that you do, literally this is all you need. You don't need to switch it up at all. All right, guys, and that's basically it. That's pretty much every drum pattern you could ever possibly need. And if you need a certain sound, literally all you need to do is just switch it up by either adding something to the drums or taking something away from the drums. Other than that, literally that's all you could ever possibly need. If you listen to some genre that wasn't mentioned that I just have never heard in my life, maybe I can do a part 2. You can leave that in the comments if you guys would like that. And if you feel like I helped you at all, please do not hesitate to like, comments, and subscribe. And that's it, guys. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.